Two-step equations with fractional coefficients, level 1. Step 1, let's start with the original equation. 5 equals 3 minus 1 over 10b. Next, we're going to go ahead and we're going to divide the equation into two parts by drawing a vertical line through the equal sign. Again, we want to emphasize keeping order. My variable term is this negative 1 over 10b. So I'm going to need to move this 3 to the other side of the equation, and again that is a positive 3. If you don't see a sign in front of it, assume that it's positive. So I will get rid of the positive 3 by subtracting 3 on both sides, and then I'm going to draw my horizontal and line, and this horizontal line is going to allow me to go ahead and finish off the next step. So we're going to simplify 5 minus 3 with positive 2. The positive 3, negative 3 cancels, and now I'm going to bring down this negative 1 over 10b. Now I do want to point out that the way that Delta Math is going to show you how to do this is a little bit different than they did this when it was just one step. When we did one-step equations where we had a numbers equal to a fraction in front of the variable, you could actually multiply by the reciprocal, which in this case would be multiplying by a negative 10 over 1 on both sides. And if you want to continue with that strategy, be my guest. But for some reason in Delta Math, they're actually going to use a slightly different strategy. It's a little bit longer. I would describe it as a little bit simpler. But again, if you understand this method about multiplying by the reciprocal, continue. I'm going to back things up and I'm going to show you the way that Delta Math is going to work on this one here. Instead, what Delta Math is going to do is they're going to get rid of this fraction by multiplying by the denominator. So we're going to multiply by 10 on both sides. But whenever there's a negative in the fraction, they're also going to get rid of that negative at the same time by multiplying by a negative denominator. So we're going to get rid of the negative and the divide by 10 by multiplying by a negative 10 on both sides. And the reason for that is simple. If we took this negative sign and we put it down in the denominator, it makes a little bit more sense. But again, you need to get rid of the negative. Okay. So now that we've multiplied by a negative 10 on both sides, I'm going to draw my horizontal line and I'm going to simplify this. On the left, negative 10 times 2 is negative 20. On the right side, recall that negative 10 over negative 10, written as a fraction, would look just like this. And negative 10 divided by negative 10 is positive 1, and 1 times b would give us just b like that. So we find out that the first one simplifies pretty quick. We get negative 20 is equal to b. Let me go ahead and jump ahead and show you one more example where it's maybe not as cut and dry. Okay, 2 minus 3/8 x equals 14. So again, we'll start by writing the original equation. We'll split the equation into left and right by drawing a vertical line. And we'll identify our variable as negative 3 over 8x. Before I move on, I want to point out that always include the sign with it. Sometimes people will leave the negative there, and that's a pretty big mistake. That's going to change everything. So again, whatever's in front of it. Now, if it's a positive, don't worry about it. Just write 3 over 8. But if it's a negative, make sure you take that with you. Okay, so to isolate negative 3 over 8x, to get rid of this 2, we will subtract 2 on the left and the right side of the equation. I'm going to draw my horizontal line, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify that. So this positive 2, negative 2 cancels, and I'm going to bring down this negative 3 over 8x is equal to 14 minus 2, which is 12. As I said in the last one, if you want to multiply by a negative 8 over 3 on each side because you're familiar and comfortable with doing that, you can do that. But again, I'm going to continue with Delta Math. Delta Math, when they get to these examples, if you get it wrong, this is the way they're going to explain it. They're going to get rid of the negative and the 8 by multiplying by a negative 8 on each side. So over here, we're going to get rid of the negative and the 8 by dividing by a negative 8, and recall that it cancels because negative 8 divided by negative 8 is equal to a positive 1. So it's kind of like these cancel. Don't say 0. They cancel because it turns to 1. So let's draw our horizontal line, and we'll simplify that line now. Negative 8 over negative 8 turns to 1. 1 times 3x is going to give us 3x. So I can do a better job. So again, it's like this cancels and then that cancels. and 1 times 3x is just 3x. On this side we have 12 times negative 8, and that is a negative 96. And then this is 3 times x, so we'll divide by 3 on each side. Draw your horizontal line, and let's simplify that. And 3 over 3 again, remember 3 over 3, that's 1. 1 times x is just x. And then negative 96 divided by 3 is negative 32. And there you have it.